This is it right here.
Combining a team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious?
Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing?
That's a damn coaching mistake!
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no!
The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me?
That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy cootie coming at you.
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again.
No arguments. Those are called ass tunes.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Greater Lansing and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here in studio today, 105 West Allegan. That means you can see us on YouTube. I'm here with my producer, Boston Rob. Rob, we have tons to talk about, of course, the situation at Michigan State. We're going to spend a lot of the second hour talking about that. We're also going to have our long drive golf segment, but we want to start with the Detroit Tigers. And there's no better time to do it than after last night's Colt Keith performance. Want to welcome in Daniela Bruce, as she does a fantastic job on the team with Jason Benetti and all of the analysts who work with him. Daniela, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. Excited to join the show today.
Well, when you think about the Tigers and the crazy season it has been, kind of treading water for the first month, and then May that everyone would love to forget, and now coming out in June, and there are signs when this team puts it together that they did get a shipment of bats in.
Yeah, that's definitely been the case of the season so far, a bit of a roller coaster. And you mentioned the month of June. The Tigers have hit 30 home runs in the 12 games, which is the most by a team ever in that amount of games in 12 games. So exciting stuff to start the month of June, but they all know that there's such a slim margin for error right now that even the Cleveland series, where, of course, they didn't play the final game of that series, but the first two games were losses to a team that's a 6-game sweep so far on the season, and that's what's the concerning part, right? Just a little margin for error right now, but there are signs that the bats are coming to life. Obviously, we'll have to see what happened with Gleyber Torres last night, who ended up leaving the game, and he was on the IL with an oblique injury, so I know AJ Hinch was a bit concerned about that. He's still getting some tests done. Maybe he'll have an update for us in just a little bit today before the Tigers take on the Astros, but that's a big bat in the lineup that you hope everything is okay for. Troy Melton said he was hopeful he won't have to go on the IL after getting scratched from his start last night. But it seems like you get the positive, and then there's something that happens where it feels like another gut punch, right? But we'll have to focus on the good from last night. You take game one of the series. Colt Keith looks like he's coming out of his slump a little bit, now has 4 homers on the season after not having one until last weekend, and then he hits 3 last night. So there are some positive signs that this team will start to put it together. Yeah, and 3 homers last night. I guess the lesson to be learned is you don't want to hit Colt Keith with a pitch the first time up. After that, that too.
he responded to that. But 6 RBI, and Daniela, I think he had 10 before last night, so he had 60% of the RBI that he'd had in 65 games. Yeah,
and you can tell, Colt wasn't thrilled with himself in conversations that I've had with him, but there was some unluckiness to it. Like, you could see the hard contact. He wasn't getting the ball to drop. It just barely missing. I can go back all the way to the first road trip of the season, opening day, when we were in San Diego, and then we went to Arizona. He had 2 balls in Arizona that were inches away from leaving the ballpark, and it felt like a lot of that was happening to him leading up to this point. So there were signs that the good hitter in Colt Keith that we know was there. It just needed to break loose, and now hopefully this is what we'll get more of. I don't think we're going to see him have 3 homers in every single game, but if he can be a little bit more consistent with the power, that's really going to help this lineup. Yeah, and he was making decent contact. Certainly his average was higher than a lot of players, but when you think about 3 home runs in one game, I'm guessing there were weeks in May where the entire team did not hit 3 home runs. Yeah, definitely. The offense was very quiet in the month of May. And actually, here's a fun stat for you. Colt Keith was only the 21st player in Tigers history to have a 3-homer game, and him and Al Kaline were the only players to do it before they turned 25. So he joined some good company with a 3-homer game. But, yeah, you're right. The homers in June, the power in June, the offense in June has been the sign that's a lot better, that you can have something to lean on, that this team can go on a run. And I think they all believe that, too. They know how bad May was, but they also know that's not the team they are, right? And we've seen them play some really good baseball. We just have to hope they don't get into that rut again of the bad baseball we saw in May.
I'm talking with Daniela Bruce, and she does a fantastic job on the Tigers telecast, roaming all over the grounds. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. But you mentioned Al Kaline, and, of course, he came up to the major leagues. I had a chance to sit down with Al for a long time when I did a Tigers book, and he told the story of signing with Detroit because they were so bad in 1953 that he knew he would not have to go to the minors, and he could have gone to Philadelphia or the Boston Red Sox. Imagine him with Ted Williams, but he wound up in Detroit, and when he got to the ballpark the first time, Daniela, they wouldn't let him in. They thought he was an imposter. And
that's actually great.
Yeah, he was about 160 pounds, and they said, "You're not really that guy." And then they had to kind of validate and get him in, and the rest is history. And in 55, his rookie year, at age 20, he bats .340, wins the batting championship, and there's another rookie on this team who I think is going to be around a long time. Don't know if he's going to be here 22 years, but Kevin McGonigal is as impressive as any Tigers rookie hitter. You can say, well, what about Mark Fidrich? But I'm talking about everyday players. What Kevin McGonigal is doing, Daniela, in terms of getting walks, working pitchers, fouling balls off, he looks like he's been in the league 10 years.
Well, first of all, he actually has a similar, not exactly the same story to Al Kaline, but showing up at Comerica Park for the first time.
Yeah.
He could not find the players' parking lot, so he wasn't sure where he was supposed to go. So he was trying to stop and get directions on how to get there. And now that he's found it, obviously he doesn't get lost anymore, but had some trouble finding the parking lot. So a similar story for the first day. And also only 21 years old. So, yes, Kevin McGonigal has been everything that the Tigers could have hoped for and more this season. And when you talk to coaches about him, when you talk to manager A.J. Hinch about him, it's the maturity at the plate. It's the mature at-bats. It's the way that you trust him in any situation. His first walk-off last week, that's the guy you want at the plate in that situation. It's the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and you have a chance to win the game. You want the bat in the rookie's hands, and you always know he's going to put together a quality at-bat, even if he does strike out. He's going to see a few pitches. He's going to help the teammates behind him, and his steadiness for how young he is something that's really impressive, because it's easy to get caught up in the game of baseball, the mistakes that you can make, the bad games you can have, and he doesn't do that. Very, very even-keeled. In fact, A.J. Hinch shared a story with me that back in spring training, when Kevin started showing the signs of being the player that he is, and people started to go, hey, maybe this guy's going to make the roster. He had players coming into his office after days of training, after days of working out, and saying, hey, this guy's got to be on the team. And AJ would say to them, well, that might mean less playing time for you, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't care. We got to have this guy. He's going to help us win. This is how we're going to start winning games. So Kevin McGonigal had become a fan favorite and a team favorite very quickly. He's really endeared himself to that locker room, and rightfully so. It's personality, and it's his performance on the field.
Danielle, two other things that might be missed by some fans, casual fans. There's a stat for everything in baseball, it seems, but I'm wondering if any Tigers player at that age has had as many 10-pitch at-bats. I mean, he is fouling pitches off. You just can't get him to swing at a bad ball. And lately, the last 3 weeks, I think, he has made some tremendous plays in the field, and he doesn't do it diving. He just does it just in the course of a routine motion, but his anticipation, his positioning, again, certainly belies his years.
Yeah, isn't that funny? That was the question about his game.
Yeah.
It was, can he play defense at this level? And he's proven that not only can he play defense at this level, he can do it at shortstop, he can do it at third base, he can do it wherever they need him to do it, basically.
Right.
But playing third and short, especially in the absence of Javi Baez, has been really important for this team. And I know during spring training, when AJ was starting to move him around, play third, play short, they felt really confident that he was going to be able to come into the season and give them the time at each of those positions. And you're right, he's made some plays that, again, you think of a rookie, there's going to be the mistakes, there's going to be the tougher plays. He makes them look easy. He makes it look effortless, and he puts in the work. That's another thing. He put in a lot of work to make sure people stopped questioning if he could play in the field, play defense at this level.
Daniela, the pitching staff, people are always complaining about the bullpen if they blow a save, and the Tigers have had plenty to complain about. But the starting staff has dealt with so many injuries. And now we don't know what Justin Verlander's impact is going to be. I thought that was about what I expected from Tarik Skubal in his first start. But watching what he did at West Michigan, I have no doubt what he is going to do the second half if his arm is as sound as it seems. What do you think we can expect from Tarik Skubal in Detroit or anywhere else?
Oh, I can promise you Tarik Skubal's going to give it 100% every single time he goes out there. And in chatting with him about this procedure that he had on his elbow and how fast he was able to come back, he said that, they were actually taking this pretty conservatively because I think A.J. Hinch and really the entire team, they know they need everybody to be at 100% because of that small margin of error we were talking about earlier. Just, you can't go on a 3-4 game losing streak. You have to win series. There's a very small margin if you want to climb back into this, and that means that you have to get the most out of your starting pitcher, so you're not taxing the bullpen like this team has been for a while, right? So Tarik, I would imagine, is going to get back to Tarik himself. Of course, you mentioned the West Michigan outing. He's facing high A hitters at that point. It's not exactly the same as getting in the big leagues, and they'll tell you that the only thing that can replicate playing a big league game is a big league game. So for his first one, was he thrilled with it? No. Will it get better? I would be shocked if he doesn't come out and have one of your typical Tarik Skubal outings on Friday. With the crowd behind him at Comerica Park, everyone's going to be excited to watch him again, and I think he's going to be working to get his innings back up a little bit and hopefully a little sharper than what we saw before. But it's a big year for Tarik Skubal in a lot of reasons, and he wants to help this team win. Yeah. He doesn't like sitting on the sidelines watching them lose, so you hope that you're going to get the full-blown Tarik Skubal, and I think the next outing will just get better, and the next one will get better, and that's normally what you see from him when he comes back from something like this or when he's starting a season, so I'd anticipate better results going forward.
Daniela, we don't know what's going to happen in terms of contract, where he will play next year, even where he will finish this year. But I did have a chance to spend a little time around him and talk to him briefly when he made his tour of different sporting events. And, of course, he was here again in East Lansing at a Michigan State basketball game. And I think he really likes the state of Michigan, and I think he really likes Detroit. And I think, all things being equal, he's very happy with the organization, even the way the arbitration went. But money is money, and when you have Scott Boras involved, who knows what the numbers are going to be.
Right, and you have to look at it from the business side, too, sure. And Tarik does love Detroit. I think you're right, and I think he would love to be here and be a Tiger, but it has to make sense for both sides. Right, and I think... like I said, Tarik loves this team. He likes A.J. Hinch. He likes Chris Fetter. He loves his teammates here. He would love to stay here, but that's something that's going to have to play out, and he'll tell you he can only do so much, and it's more conversations between his agent and the teams right now. But the number one thing from Tarik Skubal is he's going to go out, he's going to pitch his butt off in every game that he has to start, and he's going to do everything he can to help this team win. And he spoke after his West Michigan outing and said, I still believe truly 100% fully that this team is a playoff team, and this team can go on a run and will go on a run, and he's going to be a big part of that. And I think that's what fans should expect to see in the next few weeks from Tarik Skubal. And what happens come the deadline, what happens past then, might be out of some of that control. But I think Tarik really wants to give this team everything he has.
Daniela, if you talk about the Tigers of the year at the 3/8 poll, I think that certainly Kevin McGonigal and Dylan Dingler, who could both be. Dylan should be an all-star starter, I think. But in terms of the biggest surprise or the most pleasant plus amid some of the disappointments, Who stands out to you and say, that's a little bit more than I thought in spring training?
Well, Kevin McGonigal could be on that list, too, just because I don't think you ever expect a rookie to come in and give you anything of that nature. Like, you're just not really expecting that. And this one, Riley Green is super talented, and I think we all knew that. But the consistency that he has shown this year is actually something we haven't quite seen from him in the past. He's kind of been streaky, and when he hits, he hits, he mashes, but he goes through some slumps, and he had the strikeout issue last year. The things that he worked on and he fixed, and he showed some signs in spring that the strikeouts were still there, but the way that he has played all season this year and has worked really hard to strengthen his body to limit some of the injuries we've seen from him. He has been so good, and it's weird because he is a star player, but sometimes he does fly under the radar because people almost expect that level of play from him. But he's been so good, especially after everything he had to deal with last year with hearing about his strikeouts all the time and trying to get that back up. Even though his homers were up, he had over 30 homers, over 100 RBI, but he still was hearing about the strikeouts, and he's been so much more consistent this year. So I would give him a nod, too, just for how good he's been.
And he's been a better defensive player this year, I think. He's made a lot of big plays. The other guy who I was going to say has surprised me, and thank goodness the Tigers have had him, was Kader Montero. I didn't know if they wanted him or what his role might be or where he would be, but he has been a pretty important part in holding this together to the degree the Tigers have.
Yeah, we've seen this from him for the last couple of seasons, too, because he played a big role in some of those playoff runs. But his ability to come up and make a spot start, because that was his role for a little while. It was, they want to give somebody an extra day, or somebody had to go on the IL, and, to come up and make that spot start and know you are probably going to have to go back to AAA, that's not the easiest thing to do. Yeah. And he was able to do that, make a move to the bullpen, which he's done, which could be a possibility if this rotation does get to its full health at some point this season. I know Jack Flaherty now on the injured list keeps that spot kind of open for him to make his starts, and he deserves it. It's not just the fact that he's here for injuries, right? I think that would have been a really tough decision to make if you ended up with your entire starting healthy rotation that you expected in the spring. But Kader Montero he's a weapon for this team, and he's a huge help. And for a while, he was the only true starter that was going out there and making some quality starts this year. And I think his consistency in the way that, like I said, that he can bounce back and forth and know that, you don't know when your time's going to be up here. Right. It's not easy, and he does it really well, very well.
Our guest is Daniela Bruce, and she does a phenomenal job on the Tigers broadcast team, whether it's rain delay questions or the wild Bruce chases. We'll get to those in just a minute. But thinking back to your background, and now so many people have said, hey, I remember her. She was here. I saw her way back on home TV. Or, her career path has been fantastic, and you've been such a role model now for so many young women who are hoping to follow the Daniela Bruce path. Can you talk a little bit about working with Jason Benetti and Andy Dirks or Dan Petrie or Bobby Scales, whoever that is?
Yeah, we have, and throw Dan Dickerson in that mix, too, because he comes in and, he does play-by-play on Sundays. And our crew truly, it's a special crew. And I think some of the things you see on TV, like you can feel how much fun we have, how much we like each other, and that's all genuine and real. And I think that is very important, and we all trust each other to do our jobs and do it well. And those of you that are listening, if you were watching the game where the CC and the McGonigoggles came up, and that's something that's such a spur of the moment thing. And Dan Dickerson happened to be on the call that day. And everybody has to nail it, right? You have all of your people behind the scenes that have to nail this big moment. Dan and Andy have to do their job in the booth. I have to do my job down there as the reporter to really bring that moment to the fans. And, I mean, the game played into it, too. Like that's magic. There's no way you can plan for Kevin to hit a homer in the first at-bat and then have the walk-off win, right? But moments like that make me realize how special this group is. We all trust each other to nail the big moments. We all bring something unique to the broadcast, and working together has really been fun. We mesh. We all love baseball. We want to bring the game to everybody, but we also want to bring the entertainment element. And you know, we went through a really tough month of May, and it's not always easy to get up there and make sure that you're putting on an entertaining broadcast, right? But we find a way to do that and do it well while also delivering what fans need, which is the baseball, the actual baseball, because there are a lot of fans that come for that too. And but having fun and being friends with all of the people that we work with, it's real, and I think that really comes through, and that makes our jobs a lot easier.
Daniela, the Magana goggles went viral. Can you quickly take us through how you found CC, who pointed that out, and what went on from there?
So not only do we have great on-air talent, our behind-the-scenes crew is incredible. So Andy, a few weeks ago, I believe we were in New York when we were playing the Mets, he started using the phrase Magana goggles because Kevin has great vision. So he's like, this guy can see everything out of hand. He's always wearing his Magana goggles. And CC made some Magana goggles, and it was actually our camera crew that found her, and they were putting her on the screen a little bit, and then, of course, Andy started to lean into it a little more. And the first time they actually put her and talked about her on TV was during Kevin McGonigal's first or second at-bat of the game, and he hit a home run while CC was, you know, showing off her goggles, and it was fantastic. Andy played along with that. And then that kind of sparks what we call the wild Bruce chase, right? I'm like, okay, I've got to go find CC. So that's where my role in that moment comes in, is I've got to go find her, and I did. We did a little interview with her about the goggles. Her and her family were there, and we ended up going back to it a little later with we gave her some signed items from Kevin McGonigal, and actually her favorite player is Spencer Torkelson. Right. So we gave her a few items from the two of them, and then the walk-off happens. And, of course, we're going to cut back to it a little bit and see CC's reaction, because they did stay the entire game. They watched it. Yeah. And you get that moment, and then Kevin had some fun with it with me, too, in the post-game interview. And I asked him about CC and said, hey, you know, let me explain to you what's been going on. There's been a game within the game today. So I tell him about it, and he had some fun with it. But, yeah, it's a mix of everybody really coming together to create a special moment like that. And our crew in the back is amazing at knowing the right amount of putting her on screen and when, and it's great. It's really cool. There's no better feeling when moments like that happen, and not only is it entertaining to everybody at home, but you get to make that little girl's day, year, month, whatever it might be. She's so excited, right? So those are the fun moments of TV.
Have Kevin and CC had a chance to get together, Daniela?
They have not met yet. They have not met yet.
Okay.
CC has sparked some ideas around the organization, though, let me tell you.
I can imagine.
I have a feeling Magana goggles are not gone.
I think they're going to be for sale very soon. At Comerica. I want to talk to you about something you did that touched me the day before that. And I think this is another example of your scope. The kind of stories you can tell the fun stories, you can tell stories that mean more. But this was the anniversary of D-Day on the 6th, and you found a 101-year-old former pilot who was there, and you had a chance to really drive that home for a lot of people, and there were people who were in tears. I mean, veterans about this.
Yeah, that's part of the other thing is you never know who you're going to meet at the ballpark, and I always remember that. And it was his name was Arthur Van Eck, and he was incredible. Like, it leaves me a little bit speechless. First of all, anybody that's 101 years old, there aren't many living World War II veterans anymore. And to hear his story and to understand what he went through, and to have lost friends on D-Day, and to hear him reflect on that, and then also give us his advice on living to be 101 years old, and how sharp he was, how much he enjoyed baseball. He got to meet Dan Petrie. Dan Petrie presented him with a custom jersey that had his own name on the back, while the Tigers recognized him in-game. So just to hear that you can create some memories for somebody like that, and that has made such an impact on this world, this nation, and to know that he doesn't have to think about that, right? He can smile for a day and enjoy a baseball game and have some fun with us, but also be as impactful as he was to viewers. I think that's another special thing about my job, and I always say, like, I've come across some great people, and you never know who you're going to meet. And to meet someone like that is a true honor.
Last thing for you, Daniela. You're a proud Spartan, class of 16, I believe, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So 10 years now as an alum, and I'm sure you get questions, and so much of Michigan State in the headlines now, not necessarily the way that anyone would want. Certainly Tom Izzo made that known yesterday.
Yeah.
When you run into people and they say, hey, you're a Spartan, what the hell's going on there? How do you react? What do you say?
Well, I tell them, I let them know that, first of all, there will never be 4 years like the 4 years that I spent on Michigan State's campus and the people that I met and the professors that I had. Yeah. I met you. I got to work with people like professors like Bob Gould, who is still there, Lorianne Dickerson, who is still there, that were so impactful on my life and my career. Yeah. I make sure people know that side of Michigan State. And let me tell you, I had some of the best sports years ever at Michigan State. Yeah. That era of football and basketball and the memories that school and that East Lansing and the people I met provided me with I'll never lose those. And I make sure people know that, like, it's so much fun, number one, and you learn so much. You meet great people. East Lansing is still one of my favorite places on the planet. I actually haven't been back in a few years, so I need to get back there and see how it's changed, because that's another thing. You go every year and it's different in some way, whether it's new construction or the roads are a little different. But seeing it in my fond memories at Michigan State will never be taken by anything that anybody might question. And anybody that thinks about going there, I'm like, go visit East Lansing. Just go visit, walk around for a day. You will come away loving it, and you're going to meet really incredible people throughout your journey there. And every Spartan I know feels the exact same way. And I know current students at Michigan State that are absolutely having the same experience in terms of the career paths that they're choosing, the people that are helping them find their way, and the mentorship that you get from different programs or internships that you find through Michigan State. They're life-changing, and I tell people that all the time.
We talk about the 600,000 living alumni, Daniela. It's so much more than a couple members of the Board of Trustees or a couple people who are causing the university embarrassment these days. But I guarantee Tom Izzo would love to see you. You want to come back to a game. You're going to love Adam Nightingale, and you will really, really love, with your personality, Pat Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I need to meet Pat Fitzgerald. I missed him at a Tigers game, actually. He was there over the weekend. One of my best friends got married this weekend, so I was out of town, and I was so bummed that I missed that game. Yeah. So I am going to have to meet him for sure. I run into Tom Izzo occasionally. I've seen him a few times. Yeah. And Adam Nightingale's great. We did a nice story, Trey Augustine, one of the Red Wings prospects that led Michigan State, goaltending prospect. We went up there to see him a few times, and Adam was excellent. So, yes, there's so many great things about Michigan State that people should not forget that, even when the headlines might suggest otherwise.
Daniela Bruce. Daniela, thanks so much for your time. I hope we can do this again later this season.
Yes, you let me know. I would love to join you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Fantastic. We're going to be back in just a moment, and Tom Lang is in studio, The Long Drive. We've been doing that since April, and now we have the U.S. Open. We started this, Tom, before the Masters, right? We had the Masters week, and now here we are, U.S. Open week, and we have some plans. We hope we can make work the rest of the golf season. But Tom was just at a very important event, preliminary for the Rocket Classic. Had a chance to talk with Mark Hollis, not about Michigan State, about the Rocket Classic. We're going to hear from Mark a little later on something else. But we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about a very emotional story after the break about an accident and some heroic response to it, and then a championship. We'll be right back on The Drive with Jack. Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graf of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Jeremy, I gotta ask, how do you always know where to go on the weekends?
Easy. One North. It's basically my cheat code.
What's going on there?
Live music every Friday and Saturday night, DJ trivia during the week. There's always something happening, Jack.
So I don't have to keep texting you for plans?
Nope. Just follow all 3 One North locations on social media. Lineups, times, everything's right there.
That might actually simplify my life.
That's the goal. When you're looking for something to do, One North's the move.
All right. See you there this weekend.
Are you passionate about college sports? Foster Swift Sports Talk is your go-to podcast dedicated to addressing the hottest topics in college athletics, including recruiting practices, NIL, the trade portal, collectives, and revenue generation.
Join us as we bring you insights from student athletes, college head coaches, administrators, and other industry leaders as they share their experiences in this rapidly changing arena.
Our mission is to share information and help educate student athletes, parents, coaches, and other stakeholders with the knowledge, resources, and strategies they need to make informed decisions and maximize each college athlete's potential for long-term success.
Check out our latest episode where we're joined by Stephen Bianco to discuss his work at 42U and working with universities around the country.
Like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages to watch all of our episodes, or you can give us a listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms by simply searching Foster Swift Sports Talk. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Russell.
Welcome back. It is the Drive with Jack Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, and joining us in studio again, Tom Lang, MIGolfJournal.com. Tom, how are you?
Doing great. Got to play some golf this morning.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I enjoy so much about MIGolfJournal.com, besides the fact that it shows up in my inbox, and it is FREE, everyone's favorite 4-letter word.
Always.
Yeah. The fact that you do a great job of balancing the information about the courses in the state, about what's going on here.
Try to.
And it's Michigan focused. It's
always.
It's not, well, you know, and this is going on. You're not talking about championships elsewhere. But also, you find stories. You're a storyteller.
Try to be.
And we just talked with Daniela Bruce, and that's what her job is as part of the broadcast team roaming the stadium. But you had one, and you told me a little bit about it, and then, wham, they're state champs. What can you tell us?
Well, there's a little bit background on this story. Charlevoix High School.
Yeah.
Last April in 2025, they were going from Arcadia Bluffs, a tournament at Arcadia, going to get their hotel for the night because they had to go back to Arcadia the next day for the second round.
Okay.
And were involved in a very horrific crash. They were struck their van was struck head on.
Oh, no.
By a person fleeing the police. Oh. And that person actually died. But the front of the van on the driver's side, where Coach Doug Drenth was driving the kids, took the brunt. He sustained very serious injuries. Another player also did. And I'm not going to use names unless Doug brings them up.
No one from Charlevoix died in this accident.
Correct.
It's a serious injury.
2 very serious injuries, including the coach. There were 7 to 8 boys on the van at the time. And so that kind of, not ended the season, but it totally altered it. Some of the kids had no injuries, is my understanding, except for emotional, which is just as devastating sometimes. And they come back this year. Only 3 boys graduated, so some of the team came back. And this year at Division 4 state finals, they were 1 stroke behind after the first day.
Okay.
Then they won by 17 strokes with a fabulous second day.
Wow.
So we've got Doug on the line, is he?
Yes.
And we wanted to just get some background on how all that went. And Doug, did I make any mistakes on the intro?
No, you didn't. It was perfect. Yeah, and thank you guys for having me. It's really nice to be with you guys.
Congratulations, Doug. That is an incredible achievement and an even more dramatic story in light of the accident that Tom described. When it happened, did you wake up in the hospital? How long were you receiving care there? And you had another player who was also injured severely, right?
Yeah, there were 3 of us that had some really difficult injuries, and I was fairly unconscious through the majority of May and a little bit into June. It's funny because my wife and I, we just kind of realized that on the 13th of June is when I finally came home. The accident was April 27th, and I came home just a little over like a year ago, a couple days, and I was still in a wheelchair into July. And so, it's hard because I don't remember the accident at all. I don't even remember the day before the accident at Arcadia. I just, I think our brains and our bodies protect us, and so thankfully I don't remember a lot. Unfortunately, the guys remember. I think all 7 of the guys with me, there, like you said, there were 8 of us in the van, 7 players and myself, and they remember. And I kind of imagine sometimes how bad it is, but I also know that I don't want to remember sometimes. But there's another boy named Joe who was an incredible basketball player that was severely injured, and he was in the hospital for a few weeks. And then our son Maxwell also had 36 staples to fix his arm, and he still has plates and a chain in his arm to play. But more than anything, though, I'm just grateful we're still here, and I was able to experience this, man. Like you said, what an amazing story, and it's truly a tribute to those guys. Those 4 of the guys in the van were our 4 scorers this year, and my assistant Bruce Bodine did finish the season, and they fought in the regional. Unfortunately, didn't make it, but they did finish, and they actually finished tied for the conference championship. They lost on the 5th man, but they had some good scores throughout. And again, like you said, with a partial team, as a few guys were missing the remainder of the year last year, so. Sure. A lot to be grateful for.
Wow.
Absolutely. Doug, this probably won't surprise you, and I was not the only one, but my first response when I heard you guys won the state title this year was, who's making the movie? Because what you guys went through, and then you come back the next year and you win the state title. I mean, that is made for Hollywood TV. And I kind of wish Jim Cash was still alive, a former Michigan State professor who wrote Top Gun, the original movie. I thought my first phone call would be to him, but he has passed on from us now. But can you put into words, I know you have in other formats, but how can you express the amazing gratitude that you and the players feel for the community's support there in Charlevoix?
That's hard. It's overwhelming. I mean, I truly believe it's a lot of the reason we're alive. I mean, we've had to fight a lot, and just it's brought so much good out of something so bad. I mean, I can't put into words. I'm just grateful. And it's not just Charlevoix. I mean, the greater Michigan golf community, I've got cards and letters from people that I hadn't heard from decades, and old students of mine that live in other states. And I think it shows good in humanity. You know, it shows that there's so much good, and something that's horrific has brought us together, and so much to be grateful for. And, you know, and yet so much still to fight to get better, but I'm hopeful, and I'm looking forward to what can be next.
Well, speaking of getting better, can you talk about how everyone on the team scored better for day 2 when you were trailing by 1 going in, and you won not by a landslide, but 17 strokes? That's a pretty good margin. How do you want to describe how the boys did and reacted on day 2?
Really, you guys, it was the last 10 holes. We just played really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like every course is set up from where you start and where you look forward to holes. And this stretch of holes on the back 9 at Forest Acres West, we started on 1, 18, and 17. And the guys knew that back 9, which was, 10 through 17, are scoreable, and they knew that coming in. So we just look forward to playing those holes. And not that we didn't worry about scoring against other people. We just knew that if we played to our abilities, and that's what I prayed for, if we played to our abilities, we'd have a great chance. And Bryce Boss, who was our number 1, who tied for the championship and lost in the playoff, he made 5 birdies in the last 9. He made 2 bogeys, but so he's 3 under. And so he was outstanding. Our number 2, Joe Gaffney, he played even, and both our son Maxwell and our number guys that played 3-4 Landon both played at 4 over. So we played 5 over as a team for the last 9 holes, and it was really fun. And like you said, it went to very, very close to winning by 17, which made my stress level go much less. So it was really helpful to me.
Absolutely. You mentioned a few minutes ago that challenging times or low times can turn into real positives. Can you give a few examples in ways that happened for you guys?
Just to see the guys overcome has been amazing. Mm-hmm. Like for the fact that Joe was Mr. Basketball in this area. He was, and for him to get back on the court was really uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
Maxwell was a part of the state championship cross-country team in Charlevoix, so he got back on the course and he can run easier than he can swing a golf club. And so it was one of those things where he got to be part of that state championship, which was really emotional and amazing as well. And then just to you guys to see their joy together, their goofiness as high school kids, priceless. And don't get me wrong, I loved winning the state championship, and I knew that we had a great chance, but the fact that we got to be together became as important to me as that, because they missed out. Joe and Maxwell didn't get to play at all last year. They had a total year of not being able to play golf, right. And Bryce and Landon got to play, but again, they were without their buddies, and it was different for them. So. Yeah, a lot to be grateful for.
Doug, winning by 17 strokes, that is a lot in a golf tournament, and that is sheer dominance. But heading in, would you have described Charlevoix as a favorite, as a co-favorite, as a contender? And after day 1, to do what you did on day 2, do you think there is divine intervention, fate, karma? Is there something else in play here besides swinging a club?
That's a great question. Going down, it's just so hard to compare schools that haven't been on the same courses. Mm-hmm. So, like for us, we knew we had a chance. Right. I wouldn't say that we felt that we were a favorite. I think we felt like we had a good chance. Mm-hmm. And I think that West Michigan Christian, Northern Michigan Christian, those schools, along with a few others, were really good. And so we felt like we would be in that mix.
Yeah.
Divine intervention is something I'm going to have to ask God about. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I truly, it was magical. I mean, it's one of those things where we shot on a par a 70 course, we shot 301 earlier in the year, where we had all 4 of our guys under 80. So we knew we could go low.
Yeah.
But I also feel like to do that when it's the highest pressure setting is pretty amazing for a group of high school kids. So we shot 313 that second day, which is on a par 72 is almost as low as Charlevoix's ever shot, and that just is a tribute to Bryce, Joe, Maxwell, and Landon. So it's pretty cool that they could do that in a pressure setting, which I think that also comes to the fact that they were relaxed on day 2. We had a really fun night before the second day. We watched a movie. We went bowling. And the guys were really relaxed. And that last night, it really showed that they were relaxed.
Doug, I didn't tell this to Jack, but you have another role in golf up in Charlevoix as manager of the Charlevoix Golf Club. Which dates back to 1896.
Wow.
It might be the oldest, or definitely one of the 2 oldest golf courses in the state that are still open. You want to brag on that course for a little bit and describe it to us?
Yeah, what's unfortunate is because of my injuries, I haven't gotten to go back, but it's an amazing place. It used to be 18 holes. In 1941, due to financial issues, they had to sell 9, and now that's the Charlevoix Industrial Park. But it is. I have a doctor that comes by, and he calls it the best walk in town, and we use that on a T-shirt because we call it the Muni. It's a Charlevoix Golf Club, like you said, 1896. When I was a kid, I used to ride my bike and on my back and play. Kids still ride their bikes and play, and yet we have great members. We have great membership. It is a great walk. If you're ever in Charlevoix, it is. Our greenskeeper, Brian Livingston, does an amazing job, and it's just such a cool place. Our son, Maxwell, walked 18 today. It's still, we have Belvedere, we have Charlevoix Country Club, but we play the Muni probably as much as anything. And for a high school kid in Charlevoix, I don't know where anywhere else, a high school kid in Charlevoix pays $35 to pay all summer. That's how much they play.
Wow.
Pay to play there.
That's fabulous.
Where else?
That is amazing.
It's so fabulous.
Doug, 2 quick questions from me before we let you go. Drenth, correct?
Correct.
So I knew a Walt Drenth, who was a track and cross country coach at Michigan State for many years. Any relation?
My big brother. I saw my big brother today. He actually now lives in Charlevoix. Due to medical and issues and COVID, he actually retired during that COVID stint. And, he won a national championship. I'm so proud and love my big brother. And, he and my other brother, Mark, they came and visited me for those almost 2 months in the hospital. They came every day. And so, he actually, today was our first day of junior golf, and my brother Mark works on the course at the Muni. Right. He's on the grounds crew. And our brother Walt is one of the mentors for our junior golf program here in Charlevoix. And so I started junior golf. I have surgery this week. So, but my brother Walt was the Michigan State director of track and field and cross country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell Walt I said hello. I've actually had him on the show a few times, going way back. Last thing is, Tom, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask a state championship coach for a tip.
Of course.
For young players, or even not so young players, who could stand to get a little bit better, is there something you would say that most of us are missing without looking at our swings?
70% of your score is short game. I know we love to hit range balls. We love to hit the driver, but if you want to get better, short game, short game, short game. Yeah. Chip and putt, practice, 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 and your scores will improve dramatically, and you'll get a lot better faster, and it will be very rewarding, even though sometimes it's not as fun. But when I get to talk to my guys, I still feel like if we want to get better next year, we have to chip and putt more. 100 yards in, as much as we can.
Doug Drenth, the inspirational story, head coach of the state champion Charlevoix golf team. Congratulations, Doug, and I hope we'll have a chance to talk to you again after next year's championship.
I would love it. And thank you guys for the call. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Tom, I want to talk a little bit about yesterday for you, Detroit Golf Club. A lot of changes there. You loved it.
I did.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? And then we're going to play a brief clip with Mark Hollis not about becoming Michigan State's athletic director.
Not at all.
This is going to be about Rocket. We'll get to him and MSU in our next hour with Steve Grinzel. But what did you see yesterday?
Well, so yesterday was the planned media day that was planned long before Rocket announced that they're not going to be back as the sponsor after this year.
Yeah.
To show everybody in the media the changes to the North Course.
Mm-hmm.
Originally designed by Donald Ross in 1914.
Mm-hmm.
And they hired Tyler Ray to come in and refurbish the course back to what Donald Ross had. And it's just beautiful. It's a flatter piece of land, of course, inside the city limits of Detroit. And one of the biggest things they did was bring back infrastructure. And what that means is Donald Ross dug a whole bunch of ditches, and they're willing to use that word. They are ditches that go throughout the course like a spider web, and that's how it drained. And over the years, the members didn't like those ditches because balls would go in them.
Yeah.
And they just kind of started filling in, and then it started affecting the draining of the course. So they went back to that. They had the exact drawings that Donald Ross had from 1914 for the greens and the shape of them and that. So they redid every green to that.
Sounds like a massive project.
Very massive. The routing's exactly the same, but they did move some greens. They pushed back some tees for the pros. They added some bunkers, and they've decided to put tall heather grass around the outer edge trim of the bunkers.
And they do this with the Rocket Classic disappearing.
Yeah, they did it all. This was planned at least 3 years ago to do this, but they did it this past 351 days now ago they started. So about 6 weeks till the Rocket, and so I got out my recorder, and we asked Mark Hollis a couple of questions because he is the leader for the Rocket Classic right now.
Let's hear from Mark yesterday at the Detroit Golf Club.
I'm here at Detroit Golf Club with the director of the Rocket Mortgage Classic, Mark Hollis, former AD at Michigan State, as most people know. Mark, you made an announcement this morning that you felt like your team listened to the people who have attended this event in the past. But what did you mean by that?
Well, a lot of the things that we did was, first and foremost, what does it look like to get folks to come out? And we're looking forward, this is a celebration, the 26th event, a celebration not only of the Rocket Classic, but of the city of Detroit. And that's what we're hoping for. So we want people to come out. We want to take, obstacles away. We were one of the most expensive events on the PGA Tour. We've become one of the most affordable. We also have added parking off the lodge for folks that are coming from the Lansing area or Troy, Novi. And then we've added parking off Oakland Mall off 75. So you kind of have the two arteries that are coming in from different directions. We're excited about that. Once you get here, we've created a lot of great experiences for fans with cooling zones, cooling stations where they can walk in and see TV, but also have misters on and water available to them. So all those elements have come into play, and we think we've built a pretty good case for folks to make a decision to enjoy this one.
And actually, those address some of the things that I had heard that needed improvement, so it looks like you're spot on.
Yeah, we're trying to listen first and then take action. I think a lot of times when you're in charge of something, you think you have the answers, and in most cases we don't. It's folks that attend you need to listen to, whether it's location of restrooms, and I did that at Michigan State as an athletic director. We would listen, move, adapt, and we did a lot of that between the 25 and 26 event here.
Okay. And as most people have heard by now, Rocket has decided to not sponsor anymore, even though there's hope that a new sponsor might be found and still play the event here. What are some of the basic reasons that went into that decision?
Optionality is probably the biggest reason. When you look at an event like this, it takes a lot of partnerships to pull it off. It's the host venue, needs to be very happy, and a PGA Tour event can disrupt a private golf course like this with beeping, backing up, pounding, and in the setup. From May to August, into August, the course really much has construction or teardown going on. Second is the title sponsor that invests and needs to find value in what they do. And the third is the tour. Right now there's a lot of uncertainty. Some of that uncertainty was created by LIV when they disrupted and pulled players away from the tour and changed the value in a way of what the tour was. The tour has started to respond. But when you don't know the date, you don't know the value, you don't know what the setup looks like, it's hard commit. It's like telling you to go buy a $100,000 car, but you don't know what car they're going to hand over to you to drive away with. So the optionality that we have in the future for Detroit and to continue to make Detroit the great place it is to live, work, and play was the biggest component.
Okay, that's fair. And the big news here is also been the reconstruction of the North Course at Detroit Golf Club, where they play this event. We just had a tour of it this morning. I want to say dumbfounded is the word that I took away from it, in a beautiful way, in a wonderful way. What kind of surprises did you see out there that you think the pros that come in are just not going to recognize this place, but for good reason?
I think the first thing they're going to do is look at their bailout locations, where a lot of them, sometimes they'd use structure to get a drop, and they're not going to find those opportunities anymore based on where tee boxes are located. 18 was a dramatic shift with the tee box going to the other side of the service road. The mounds, the bunkers, the fescue. I think Tyler pretty much plotted every shot a player took and put some obstacle if you don't hit the good shot where you're going to get into some trouble. Right. And then you bring the par down to pars from 72 to 70. It's going to be a more challenging course. And as I showed pictures to players and caddies during our recruiting visits, it excited them. It didn't scare them, which was fun. They want to play courses like this, and we're looking forward to hosting them. I think they can't wait to get here.
Sounds great. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it.
So, in looking at the future of this tournament, we know what it's meant to the city of Detroit. It's been multi-day infomercial, a lot of times on CBS.
Absolutely.
How many cities proper, are hosting a tournament right now? It seems like many of them are in the burbs or out a little ways, but this is in the city of Detroit.
Yeah, and it was the first time ever that a professional tour event came inside the city limits of Detroit. Off the top of my head, other than Long Island, New York, if people consider that part of New York City.
Yeah, not really.
Might be the only one. Or Atlanta. I'm not sure the Atlanta Golf Club
city.
Is. I think it may be. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. But you're right. It's almost always pushed out to the outer edges. This event always struggled with the PGA Tour.
Sure.
The PGA Tour never gave them a consistent date. They would move them around. Just a year or two after it started, COVID hit.
Yeah.
No fans were allowed when they decided to play it. It was played at a different date than intended because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
The CBS and Golf Channel crews were all out there doing their jobs so people could watch on TV. I was one of about 15 other media only that were allowed on the grounds. No fans whatsoever. Not even players' families could come out.
Wow.
It was literally like, it was so quiet out there. It was crazy. In a good way, but a very, very weird way. I actually asked some of the players if it was hard to concentrate because it was so quiet.
Yeah.
And then, like Mark mentioned, LIV came along and stole Bryson DeChambeau, a former champion in Detroit. And it just really never seemed to be fully appreciated by the PGA Tour for what it was doing.
Yeah, I appreciate the Rocket Classic for what it did in the city of Detroit, not just the publicity, but also the money it raised for digital awareness and the opportunity for people to be connected who had not been before. I don't know how much money total has been raised over the course of this event. Do you know? Do you have that figure?
Over $6 million for connectivity alone. So when COVID hit, that's when everyone there learned all these school children don't have internet.
Right. That's right.
And they were just stranded.
Yeah.
And then they realized, well, that affects parents looking for jobs and applications and whatnot. And they looked at it, and Detroit was the least connected city in the United States. Now it's in one of the top. And just with all those partners working together to make it happen.
Do you sense that this tournament will continue with a new name, with a new title sponsor?
There's no chatter at this point in time.
Okay.
But I think it's got at least a 50% chance because Rocket let them know in advance. And the course is ready now.
Yeah, right.
And they've been doing it for several years. They've got the base of volunteers and that kind of thing. So I'd say there's at least a 50% chance.
Do you think a sponsor would want more of a commitment from the network and from PGA, really? That's more than the network.
It's all about money. If the sponsor will double what Rocket's been doing, they would become a signature event. It would take that much, at least doubling. So we're talking.
And how much are we talking about?
I think it's pushing like $15 million to be the sponsor.
More than Rob could contribute.
Yeah, Rob, can you write a check for that, Boston, Rob?
I'll forge Jack's name right on it.
There you go.
Ebling Golf Tour.
That thing will bounce higher than any Super Ball you have ever seen. Yeah. Great. Before we let you go,
Sure.
It is U.S. Open week.
It is.
Always associated with Father's Day, it seems.
Yep.
And Shinnecock Hills, back in New York. What do you make of that?
Just a quick note, Father's Day is also always the final round of the Meyer LPGA up in Grand Rapids. So
Stephen Izzo, now very actively involved with that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
For the U.S. Open, I was thinking that the winner's probably going to be somebody who's outside the top 30.
Okay, why?
U.S. Opens just seem to somebody seems to always catch fire that's not a household name or that has been but hasn't played well in past years.
I think that's true. I think there's almost always someone like that. They don't always win, but they're always there.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. So I think the winner could definitely come out of the top 30 or outside the top 30, higher than that.
All right, and the Tom Lang pick, the choice as champ is?
Well, he's not outside the top 30, unfortunately, but I like to go with Xander Schauffele.
Okay, all right. We are going to have our in-studio session with our golf panel, Bob Fossum and Burton Smith, but we're going to wait until Thursday, have some logistical considerations here. So they will be with us on Thursday. Now, the first round will be in progress as we do this.
True.
Right?
True.
Thursday through Sunday. But you can look forward to that, and we will have our predictions and the like, and Burton's historical breakdown of Shinnecock. And Bob is there now.
Is he?
Bob is on
Prepping
the premises.
Huh?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So he will be heading back, and he'll be back in time for that session Thursday afternoon. Tom, thanks so much for joining us.
For sure.
This is always fun, and I hope we can continue this through the rest of the summer.
I think so.
All right. We will be right back, and I know many of you have been waiting for this. Gotten a lot of comments about the beginning of yesterday's show before we did the Football Legends Classic. Rob, you and I talked a lot about Michigan State. We're going to do that again with Steve Grinzel, who covered Michigan State for about 4 decades and for a variety of organizations, but observer, and sometimes we just shake our heads. Be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Jeremy, it's finally patio season.
About time. And not just any patio, Amy. One North Patios.
We're talking sunshine, cold drinks, and that perfect I should have left work early vibe.
Lansing, East Lansing, Jackson, each one has got its own patio personality.
Whether it's brunch in the sun, happy hour with friends, or late night cocktail under the lights.
It just hits different outside.
Great food, craft drinks, and plenty of space to kick back.
So grab your crew and claim your spot.
One North Kitchen and Bar, your table's waiting. Outside.
Let's go.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Meadowar Jewelers.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graf of Okemos. They're making friends. Welcome back. It is Drive with Jack, Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. Rob, kind of a weird day here in mid-Michigan. It's cooler than it has been. It feels like it's 57 degrees, and there's a severe thunderstorm watch. Seems light rain forecasted here, but I want to welcome in Steve Grinzel, my travel companion for decades covering Michigan State and the Big Ten. I think he started on the Spartan Beat in 1986, and that was after a career as a cops reporter. He'd been in Muskegon and Grand Rapids, of course. Grand Rapids Press came here, and then with Booth News Service, MLive, MSUSpartans.com. He is an author. He's a historian. He's a pretty good golfer, too, on certain days. Steve, when you think about what's in the headlines today and turmoil at Michigan State, do we just flip the page, or are we in a revolving door?
Oh, geez. Yeah, I think that's probably the most accurate description, since I can't put my finger on the exact year, but it's been a revolving door of... Yeah. Or maybe a Groundhog Day since the George Perlis DiBiagio showdown. And it's, unfortunate because it, I just think since that time, since the board asserted itself as a check and the balance on the president's powers and grease some skids, that Michigan State has been an outlier. Yeah. And, back in the day when we were quoting trustees left and right, they were the most high-profile trustees in the history of trustees and regents. I mean, no one ever knew who trustees were. No one quoted them. Yeah. And we were quoting them on a daily basis. And it looks like we've made a return to that.
Yeah, it's funny, Grins. We used to get calls from trustees. We didn't have to find them. They would try to use the media to manipulate the news, the story, and as you mentioned, I think Joel Ferguson had the media on speed dial, and you can argue, some would, Tom Izzo would, that his influence on Michigan State was generally positive, and there are people who agreed with that and others who thought that he was the devil. And this continued throughout various administrations, I would say, for 35 years. But as I've said several times on this show, Grins, and you're not far behind me, the new interim president and the permanent president will be the 16th and 17th that I have dealt with at Michigan State, and there is no school in the country that can match that lack of stability.
Yeah, that's, just not the way it should be. And, I am a total believer in oversight, government oversight at every level. Yeah. And I just think the way it got twisted and convoluted at Michigan State is, just not the norm. It's, I think the president, and I think if you're in that presidential pool of candidates or former presidents or whoever would want to go into that job goes in with an expectation that they're the CEO.
Yeah.
You know, and that they make the decisions, and that the board, I think, is basically a rubber stamp. You know, like a CEO of any huge company would. They make these tough decisions. They're paid a lot of money to do it, and they have to have that trust, which DiBiagio, you recall, felt betrayed, and that trust had been eroded. And then, you know, if the president makes decisions the board doesn't necessarily like, or the board of directors at a company doesn't like, they can get rid of the guy.
Yeah, right.
You know, they could say, well, but they don't undermine him publicly on day-to-day issues and micromanage the situation.
Right.
And I think, you know, so I don't blame J-Bat. I like the idea of oversight, but I don't think, you know, how are you going to get a president to come in? And I think the expectation is, and I would imagine someone promised him that wasn't going to be the case anymore here.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about two very different situations, I think, with Kevin Guskiewicz, who left North Carolina to come to Michigan State, and 26 months later, he is now off to Clemson. He is actually back on campus right now, finishing some things up until his departure date. And Jay Batt, you know, he's at Kentucky. He's gone. He's in Blue Champions or Champions Blue, whatever they call it there now. So there's no question about that. And Guskiewicz actually is going to be making more than $700,000 less at Clemson than he would have had with a new contract offer at Michigan State. But what does it say to you, Grins, that someone would take a job for $700,000 less? That must be a real headache.
Well, yeah, because I think the meddling, the micromanaging by a board of trustees is not the way it should be handled. And I think from you know, not to compare a university to a corporate situation, there's, you know, huge differences between both. But to have oversight like that when you come in thinking, I'm making these decisions, I'm getting paid the big bucks, and, you know, if you don't like it, you're going to, you know, go have a meeting in someone's basement and perform a coup d'etat, which actually happened back in the Pearl Estate.
Right.
So, you know, it's Michigan State, you know, I don't know how you fix it. I have read about, you know, making those appointed positions and nonpartisan and so on and so forth.
People in those states are just as unhappy with that system when they get a bad governor, a corrupt governor, and now they've got board members from one party there for 8 years. So it's not that is a panacea either, but this situation clearly, when you can have a couple of trustees have that much impact, and it's not like they are having a majority here where they are blocking everything, Grins. They're just such an annoyance and a nuisance and a threat. And, you know, people's health is being affected by this. But when DiBiagio was there, you'll remember that final vote was 5-3. In fact, that was a headline in Detroit News, 5-3. Perlis wins. You know, so that was a case where DiBiagio actually lost something that was high profile, and then he had. It's like a vote of no confidence. But in this case, you have Kevin Guskiewicz winning the vast majority of these resolutions unanimously, and even at the end, not signing the new code of ethics. That was a 5-3 rather. That was a 5-3 win for him. It's been 5-3 and 6-2 when there have been disputes, but he hasn't been losing. It's just been so hard and so much work. And again, a couple of people say, oh, Michigan State or Michigan State this. You know, the 660,000 whatever living alums aren't doing this. Maybe there's some benign neglect involved. They should be more active or knowing more than they do. But it doesn't take many And if you have the wrong people in the wrong places, it's amazing how much damage they can do. It's like a small army of termites.
Right. And I would like to know, because in our elected democracy, the trustees are the elected representatives of their constituents.
Correct.
So they should be reflecting the desires of their constituents. Now, what constituents are imposing these, vote against this or vote against the code of ethics or whatever? Where is that coming from?
Yeah.
I can't imagine they have many phone calls. Yeah, I don't like this. I want you to vote against it because I voted for you and you need to represent me on this. It almost seems like they're just kind of rogue and doing, voting on their own personal agendas as opposed to being elected officials. And if that's the case, that's not right in my opinion. I mean, trustees, it's supposed to be the best boondoggle in politics,
like
right?
being a bowl rep.
Exactly. You get to go to the games, you get to go to parties, you get trips and hotel rooms and all this stuff, and unless there was something that you could see that was making a huge harm to the university, just keep your mouth shut and do things the way they should be done, I guess. And I hate to sound that way because I'm all for checks and balances and oversight.
Yeah, disclosure. Right.
But meddling and micromanaging, I think, should not be part of the equation.
Yeah. Grins, there's a group now we see, change.org, and a petition that seeks MSU trustee resignations. That's nice, but that's not going to kick anyone out. The only person who can do that is the governor, and Gretchen Whitmer declined to do that. I think a lot of people lost some faith in her for that decision, being an alumnus of the university, an alumna of the university. So when you look at the situation now, and we'll talk more about what solutions are, Rima Vassar seems to be the number one fly in the ointment here. And a lot was done in terms of reviewing her record. Justin Spiro had a big takedown of her. I don't know if you saw that, but going back through her history on campus and all the things that she has been involved with, from the censure, from telling different groups that they should pool together to quote unquote crucify the president. She denies she said that, but I heard the tape. So she can't say that. And now she, everything is, well, this is racially inspired. This is a conspiracy against me. And now she comes out and she is threatening to sue the university, which she is assigned to represent, for $25 million. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This is like what's going on in Washington now. Yeah.
It's very confusing to me. I mean, I'm following it as closely as I can, and I have yet to read a story that articulates what their opposition was to these, I guess, the straw that broke Guskiwicz's back, the code of ethics vote. I haven't seen anybody explain their position on it. Why they voted the way they did and didn't want to go, give them a unanimous endorsement and all that kind of stuff. I've read a dozen stories, and it's like no one's actually putting out what are these people's position. And why aren't they trying to make a case for this is why I did what I did, and so on and so forth. So it's too bad because it's Michigan State's athletic situation, sports and athletes and all that kind of stuff. It just gets, and it would anywhere, but Michigan State just seems to shoot both feet shoot itself in both feet every single time. It just seems to be getting some momentum going in the right direction, and it's uncanny how this has happened over the last 40 years.
I think one of the things that caused opposition was Spartan Ventures and $401 million gift, but they wanted more transparency with that. And I think with our profession, transparency is usually considered to be a good thing. But there are some things that need to happen for these kinds of donations to take place. There has to be some privacy concerns, and you don't need trustees then after a vote writing op-eds and holding press conferences and doing things to go against what the decision is. Once you've reached a decision, that should be the decision for the organization. And that's not what we've had. So now we go back and we look at these trustees, and, you have some who have personal agendas, Grins. Maybe, a daughter was going to be on a swim team and swimming. So, then you get, that's a fly in the ointment. You get somebody's panties in a knot over that. Or maybe if you look at Rima here, I'm just going through a few of these things that have come to light. There was a donor, and she accepted gifts, which she wasn't supposed to. She's supposed to oversee this donor, this whole thing, investigation. So that seems to be a conflict of interest. The harassment against a faculty member, Faculty Senate Chair Jack Lipton, she was apparently very involved in that. Then she lied on tape about the university's accreditation, we're told. And she got censured by the board, but not removed. That was not followed through on. The governor had to do that. Then she flipped off other members of the board at a meeting. A middle finger salute. And then comparing the ethics code to the Nassar era. I mean, from Nassar to Vassar, it hasn't been a good decade here, Grins. And in the meantime, you're going to have the 7th and 8th president, counting Luana K. Simon, who left in 2018. We know what the turnover has been in the athletic department. Now we're going to have athletic directors 15 and 16 going back to 1969. And we know what it's been like lately with everyone wearing name tags. It hasn't been like that in the basketball program, but otherwise there has been more turnover. Pat Fitzgerald now is, he's the 14th head football coach that we have dealt with in this span. And, it's amazing if they ever had a reunion of all these people, they need a bigger hotel.
What's even more amazing is that they still are able to hire people of Pat Fitzgerald's caliber.
Yeah, and they still won, and they still had success. Not always, not constant. But you would think that this would be dysfunction junction. They would never win anything. And you have seen, you were there, Grins, when they had it all going in the same direction. Everyone was pulling together, and they had stability and continuity. And Michigan State just can't stand to have good things.
Yeah, it's... you hate to say it's part of their DNA or their makeup because it's, for the most part, for 99% of it, Michigan State's an incredible place with an incredible reputation, and it has everything it could possibly want to be the elite place that it is in a lot of regards, and it wants to be in, especially in athletics. And yet, they just, even when it seems like they're getting it right, they just can't not get it wrong. And that's so unfortunate because, how many body blows can you take? It's exhausting.
Tom Izzo yesterday at the meeting when they announced the 10-year partnership with MSU FCU for patches on the uniforms in all different sports. And that's another revenue stream. You can say, well, I don't like that. But the fact is, to operate a successful athletic department, in some cases a successful university, in 2026, it takes money. And presidents are fundraisers to a large degree. Athletic directors are prominent fundraisers. In fact, that's probably their number one job, is to go out and to bring funds into the university. So for Michigan State, at this meeting to talk about the MSU, FCU, MSU agreement, Tom Izzo was there. And, of course, question came up, the timing of it. You know, he's about as mad as I've ever seen him. And very, very frustrated with a couple of people, not everyone, in the administration. Certainly thought Kevin Guskowitz was, he said, could have been the best president ever. And when you're better than John Hanna, that's as good as there's ever been. And, he had a good relationship with Jay Batt, certainly. Tom was very actively involved in recruiting them. I thought that he felt that Kevin Guskowitz could have been his number one recruit, better than Mateen Cleaves. And now, unless we get something totally unexpected in an 11th hour reversal, he's going to be gone. But the thing that's amazing, Grins, is when you look at this system, not only do we have elected trustees, and very few states have that, only 3 schools in the state even have elected trustees. Eastern, Western, Central, Grand Valley, Ferris, they're appointed trustees. Only Michigan, Michigan State, and Wayne State have elected trustees, and there are only a couple of other states that do, but people who have appointed trustees are not happy with them either. But when you think about all of the other things that go into this, it's hard to find a way out.
Well, it is and it isn't.
Okay.
And this is coming from an MSU grad with 2 MSU graduated children, and I put all that aside when I covered the Michigan State and was objective to a fault, I think.
Yeah.
That said, when is the last time we've ever heard of anything coming out of Michigan's Board of Regents?
Well, there's a lot going on with that Board of Regents now in terms of Palestine, Israel, board members going back and forth, and they've had a lot of turnover of late, but you don't hear of it the same way. It doesn't come out the same way. I mean, they don't have a president now. They're in a search. They have an athletic director. They have a very, very expensive investigation, which I think if the basketball team hadn't won a championship, Ward Manuel would have been a distant memory. And now they have a change in football coaches. They had a big scandal there with Sharon Moore, wrote him out of town. So in terms of the board, though, that is another case of an elected board, and those board members are constantly at each other's throats.
Well, and yet Michigan just continues to hum along.
That's right.
They don't, whatever. I mean, we've heard from the regents on rare occasion over the years.
Yeah.
But at Michigan, it's they're kind of all on the same page, even when they're kind of scribbling over the lines.
Right.
Sometimes
the brand is number one. It's all about the brand. It's all about the Block M. At Michigan State, there's so many personal agendas, and everyone is, it's a me, not a we mentality. And I think that's one of the things that at Michigan State, they always talk about strength in numbers. Just saw that with the basketball team a year ago when they won the Big Ten championship. But if Michigan State rallied together, as Tom Izzo is saying, sure, you're going to have differences of opinion. But if you have that kind of force together, now you don't have a bunch of fingers, you have fists. And that's the thing. Michigan State's just had a lot of fingers waving in the wind.
Well, and that, that's just, unfortunately, that's the character of their political construct. It's when we were covering the team and people like Peter Secchia and Joel Ferguson were on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are some high-powered individuals.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I was a guy who was appointed back when it was appointed, and was to fill an interim position. A guy named Peter Fletcher was appointed, I believe, by William Milliken. And he was from Ann Arbor and didn't like Michigan State, and he was on the board here. And he made no pretense about it. I mean, he didn't want Michigan State to be successful. So, that was kind of a screwy deal too. But in light of where we are and what the options are, short of getting Kevin Guskowitz to change his mind, and they already tried $1 million raise, that didn't do it. You'd have to remove obstructions, and I don't know how that's done before the next election. And the next election is going to be two people, the chair and another member who seem to be on the right side of most of these. Rima Vassar's term doesn't end for another 2 years. So in light of that, how do they fix it? What's the solution? Because, there are more people who could be leaving.
Well, the easy answer, because I'm not an expert and I don't know what it would take in terms of a political solution, just blow the thing up. Who are they? What presidential candidate are they going to come in? Here they had, arguably, according to one highly placed source, the best president they've had maybe since John Hannah.
That's right.
And they couldn't retain this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And unless
26 months.
Unless he didn't like Michigan winners, you've got to be able to retain that kind of leadership.
Yeah.
Because you'll never, what are the chances you're ever going to hit that home run again?
Yeah. I was disappointed in Kevin Guskowitz, but again, I'm not the one who's getting threats and feeling that, years are coming off my life. So I was disappointed that he didn't try to fight through this, because I think they could have mobilized the strength to neutralize any resistance, and if not force some board members to resign, certainly to make their life very difficult. But that's not what happened. So it is what it is.
Well, and with due respect, he wasn't a Michigan State guy to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to become a convert.
Right.
And for him to dive in and grow, he didn't have enough time to become a Spartan like Izzo had, or Duffy Doherty, or Biggie Munner, or whoever.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can see him easily saying, I didn't sign up for this.
Right, that's right.
I can make a lateral move. Yeah, I'll have to make a little less money and go to Clemson and get assurances that I'm running the show, that I'm not going to get all this back talk and backstabbing and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And, we're going to do it the right way. And so I guess I don't blame him. I can sympathize with someone in that position. It's, if you didn't sign up to go to D-Day on every single issue, why would you put yourself through that?
Yeah, it's not the easiest job. Trust me, it's one of the more difficult jobs. And it's interesting now when you look at candidates. You hear a lot of names being thrown around for athletic director. We heard Mark Hollis talking about this yesterday. Rob, do we have that clip?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Okay. Let's hear from Mark Hollis. He was asked a question by Larry Lage. Of course, Larry would be going down that road. And then we also heard about Brad Galley. I think we have Brad with Mark Hollis right now yesterday at Rocket Classic Media Day.
The job that you did at Michigan State, the exit, obviously well publicized. There's been so much that's happened since for you. There's been so much that's happened at that school. With the vacancy now forthcoming at the athletic director position, is that something you'd be interested in going and pursuing again?
It's a challenging place to work, and it's a place that I love and care about deeply. And of course, Coach Izzo's one of, if not my closest friend, and a guy that we rely on. And having conversations, listening is the first part. It's a place that I would help in any way that I could. And if asked the question, of course, I would listen and see what that would look like. And I left Michigan State at the right time for the right reasons for me and for some others. Well documented that, my departure was my choice and my purpose. And I think as you look at what the school's gone through and where I'm at right now, it's probably the first time since 2018 where I'd even entertain going back and talking about, what does it look like here at Michigan State?
Grins, Mark Hollis left, and there's no question about his brilliance and innovation and those kinds of things, his creativity, unequaled. But he left Michigan State at a very tumultuous time and implicated indirectly in some things that I don't think he really should have been. But nonetheless, he chose to leave. And now you wonder if he comes back, does that rekindle some ashes there? You wonder about other candidates. As you say, it's going to be difficult. Every time you do one of these searches, you're talking about a year, and you can't get an AD now, a permanent AD, until you have a permanent president. Right. So you have to go through all of that. You would think they should know how to do this now. They should have a working list in their drawers. But the thing that is most maddening about this, and that's true whether you bring in someone from another university or a Spartan, and now I'm hearing this idea that you're going to have the mayor of Detroit, Mike Duggan, the former mayor of Detroit. Mike Duggan is going to be the new president of Michigan, and they're going to talk or would consider talking to Gretchen Whitmer about being the president of Michigan State because she's term limited. She'll be done very soon. So there are a lot of names that are thrown out here, but the Board of Trustees is still ultimately going to be making the choice. And to me, the Board of Trustees has been more the problem than the solution. It's like if your house is on fire and you call the fire department and you see the two arsonists on the truck.
Well, you have a way of putting things back that not everybody thinks about, but yeah, that's true. Gretchen Whitmer, that name didn't even cross my mind, but thinking of somebody who's got an emotional investment into the institution, would, fight for it and, maybe put up with a lot of this nonsense, would, might be the right person for it. Someone like that. I don't think you're going to tap without assurances that you're able to operate. If it ticked off Kevin Guskowitz to the point that he found it untenable to stay, who's going to be anxious to say, I'm throwing my hat in the ring? Without assurances that something's going to change or it's going to be operated differently.
You would have to have an Evel Knievel death wish to come in from another state and walk into this. No one's going to do that. Everything they hear is negative, negative, negative.
Exactly. And so, I wish I had a magic wand and full of solutions that would work, but that's way above my pay grade, and I just think that there's got to be some sort of hierarchy or spreadsheet or blueprint or something that they can draw on that would put the system at Michigan State right, whether it's borrowing the one that Ohio State uses or Michigan uses or Purdue uses or whoever, and all of these schools have had their issues with presidents over the years, the three I just mentioned in particular.
Right.
So it's not uncommon. It just seems to be a lot more common at Michigan State.
Yeah.
And, I would look at the school that has the president that's been in their administration for the longest and say, what do you guys do?
Yeah.
Because whatever it is at Michigan State, it just hasn't been working. And as we said earlier, if this wasn't a problem that's been going on since the late 1980s, just when you think they have it solved, they don't. So there's something in the water or somewhere that needs to be fixed.
And this isn't just an athletic thing. We tend to focus on that because that's where all the attention is. It's the front porch. But so many important initiatives from Kevin Guskowitz involving the medical schools and all of the other things that he was trying to do to take Michigan State to another level, and seemed to finally have enough agreement there to proceed with that. Some things that hadn't been done before, and now they're in limbo. People say, well, we're still going to go ahead with this. Well, we'll see. First, you have to find people who are going to sit in those chairs. Grins, thanks so much for joining us. Great conversation, and I'm sure we'll talk about this again. Something tells me that Michigan State is not going away.
Well, no, it's proven that it's bigger than any one person or issue, but man alive, that foundation has been fixed so many times. It's, needs a new paint job.
Absolutely. We'll be right back, and we're going to chat with Big Jim Keaton Jr. We'll talk a little bit about the College World Series, which is on now. I see a game, and it's now 10-0. West Virginia over Troy. I was really rooting for Troy. I tend to root for the smallest schools in these tournaments, but looks like West Virginia is going to get a win, and they'll be singing Country Roads here very shortly. And we're going to talk with Jim about that and much, much more, including Michigan State University, place that he did not attend, but he is a Spartan, and his brother Kerry might be one of the biggest Spartans you will ever find, but Jim certainly follows what's happening here, and he has a detached but very interested viewpoint. Be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Jeremy, what's the move when the kids say they're bored?
Easy. Family fun night every Tuesday at 1 North.
Free kids meal with every entree, so dinner is handled.
And we're not just talking crayons and paper menus.
Nope. We've got Battleship, Uno, all the table game classics.
Plus, all the big stuff, Amy. Giant Yahtzee, Connect 4. It's basically game night leveled up.
Kids stay entertained. Parents actually get to relax. It's a win-win.
Great food, family vibes, and a little friendly competition.
Family fun night at 1 North Kitchen and Bar.
Come hungry and ready to play.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, and Jim Keaton Jr., Arizona State Sun Devil, proud football and baseball player there, NCAA champion. You had a couple of experiences your freshman year when you weren't really out on the field as much, and they won it all. You got the ring to prove it. And then you went back, and you had another shot at it, right?
Barry just didn't lead us to the promised land, you know.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy?
Maybe Coach Brock didn't put me in instead of him. I don't know.
Yeah, you should have pinch hit for him. Yeah, had it been A.J. Hinch, it would have been a righty for a lefty. They would have done that, right?
And then we had, Cal State Fullerton, who decided they wanted to be good that year.
Yeah, how's that happen? Amazing. So I know it's different now. The stadium is different. The environment's different. It's been 40 years, more than 40 years. But what can you tell people about the College World Series? Let's start there.
I think that the biggest thing is I would equate it to, like, when I was first growing up, going to the Little League World Series.
Yeah, Williamsport.
Was like,
yeah,
I want to get I used to, when I coached my kids and coached other teams, I used to always tell them, I just want you to play hard enough that I can get you an underwear commercial. and if you remember, Jim Palmer had a Fruit of the Loom.
That's right.
And that was kind of the Little League. That was our goal, is to get to the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we lost a game before to be able to go to Williamsport one year.
Uh-huh.
But when you see those types of events on TV, and you grow up watching them, you're a part of it without even knowing it. Then when you get there, it's even twice as good, because all the things that you've seen on TV, you didn't see all the things that were going on behind the scenes. And that's where, you see the vendors and the people that make sure your uniforms are ready, and you make sure that the dorm rooms are ready, and all the support staff that goes on to make the event as special as it should be, because the teams that are there have earned that right, and you want to be treated special or feel like you're special for those short 10 days. And at that time we were there for 2 weeks because we played round robin.
Right.
Then we went into the tournament, so it was a double elimination after the round robin. So, but just a great experience. Anytime you're with your teammates for that long, it's definitely a bonding experience, and it's also an experience of you realize who you don't want to be around, and who you do want to be around. And those late night card games, or the occasional sneaking away to a beverage establishment, and still be focused on the game and telling everybody you are. And
you would do that? I thought you'd be in bed by 9 o'clock every night, never looking at women or alcohol or anything else.
No, I thought about being in bed at 9 o'clock during the week when I had to go to school the next day. But I also I enjoyed a few libations when I was young, and
you were a ladies' man. We know
me.
that.
Not a ladies' man. I was a man who enjoyed ladies. I liked to hang out with women. I was very friendly. I like to think I was a better friend to most women, and always looking for the right one, and then got one, and then screwed that up. So, what can I say? I'm still looking, ladies. I am.
That's
looking.
right. We'll take all names, numbers. As you look at the teams that are still alive in this tournament, and you get 8 that move on to Omaha, North Carolina is sitting there waiting, and it looks like West Virginia is going to eliminate Troy in a double elimination round here. And then you have Georgia and Texas, one of them. So you could have 3 teams left for that other spot opposite North Carolina. But, Jim, I don't see Arizona State, Arizona, UCLA was ranked number 1, USC, Oregon. Oregon State has won the national championship. What happened to the representation from west of the Rockies?
It's difficult to believe, but everybody eventually stubs their toe. It's just unfortunate that we all did it in the same year.
Yeah.
Because UCLA by far was the best team I saw all summer. or
Yeah.
all
Right.
year.
Right.
And winning all those close games,
Yes.
doing all the things that they did to come back, and ultimately Father Time catches up with you.
Yeah.
So does baseball.
Yeah.
The baseball guys will give and then they will take away. And I always used to say I could hit a dribbler off the end of the bat down to first base and beat the pitcher or the first baseman to the bag. It still looked like a seed in the book.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And then there are times where you hit the ball, you couldn't hit it any better, but you hit it right to somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's part of the game. That's part of the gamesmanship of the game. But I also think that transfers over into teams. Teams, I've been telling you since the beginning of the year, since you tell me how bad the Tigers are, and I'm like,
just
baseball does not get started until it gets warm.
That's right.
And what happens? It gets to be June. It's warm, and they win 9 out of 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're on their way back.
They're hitting home runs. They got 30 homers in the last 12 games, even though that they're still well below 500. There's a pulse.
And there's 8 games out of first place.
Yeah.
I mean, the Central Division is the weakest division in baseball.
Right. That's right.
So that obviously gives us a chance. But I think that, if we can get healthy.
You can have a good series and cut that deficit in half.
Just beat Cleveland once.
Yeah, be nice. Be a nice way to start. Yeah.
But baseball is a beautiful game when it's played right. But at the same time, it can be as humbling as anything that you have in your life. And you just kind of got to learn to roll with it. As we joke often that, you can be good 30% of the time and be an all-star.
There you go. Yeah.
So
Hall of Famer.
Not too shabby, and at the same time the standard not that high. And
well, the difference between a 250 hitter and a 300 hitter is 1 hit a week.
Our coaches used to preach to us to go up and get a walk and a knock.
Yeah.
Because you're going to probably get up 4 or 5 times in a game.
Yeah.
And if you do a walk and a knock,
there you go.
You're a 300 hitter.
Yeah. Right.
And so when we call it reducing it to the ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you really pare it down to what's really important, how to be successful, I go up there, I get a walk, I get a knock.
You're good.
And that those are going to be days where you get 3 and 4 knocks.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of the game. And just make sure, my goal was always to make sure I got the knock at the right time.
That's right. It's when you get it, right?
And does
you don't want 2 out spaces empty when you're down 6
does
or up
no
6.
good when you get that hit.
Yeah.
But when the bases are drunk and there's 2 outs and you got 2 strikes on you and you lean one off the center field fence, that's when they really count. Because now you're not only a walk and a knock guy, but you're a leader and leading your team to victories.
So I have one more question about college baseball, and we'll move on to this. I'm looking at these last teams. None further north than Morgantown, West Virginia. None any further west than Austin, Texas. So the West and the North are out of this, and this is all concentrated in the Southeast. Do you think that we will see in our lifetimes a national champion from the North?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can happen.
I absolutely. I think that there are teams in the North that have the potential to be really good baseball teams.
Mm-hmm.
The question is it, in my opinion, what has to happen is you have that young up-and-coming coach who hasn't quite made it to that next step, that next echelon, but he knows that's where he should be. And he can lead at a university and get the right players, get the right.
And there has to be a value at the northern schools of what these athletes mean, what they're worth. Now, southern schools where baseball is very important, say, that's a good player in the North. We'll get that player down here. Even in softball, Texas Tech went to Stanford. You won't find a better school than Stanford, and an excellent program. Said, here's $1 million. Here's more than $1 million to come in and let him to the national championship, finish second twice. But I don't know that there's that much value on baseball right now where a great player from any of the northern schools is going to be given millions of bucks to play here.
I don't see that happening either. However, one thing that I see that I don't think we do a good enough job of in the North is to go and get the second and third line guy in the West and in the South.
I got you.
And bring them up here because we only need maybe 3 or 4 of those guys.
Yeah.
To fill the positions, because we got players.
Yeah.
But we need pit bulls.
Yeah.
That can come in and be that pitcher. That wins 18 games, or be that hitter that hits 375 to 400, and drives in 50 runs to 100 runs. And if we did that, and but again, it comes back to money. You got West Coast and Southeastern Conference schools that are probably paying those second, third line guys more than we could up here in the North. But what I would sell would be the opportunity. You may not get your bag today, but you're going to earn your bag up here.
Right. You get
for your
opportunity.
long term.
Yeah.
And so it's, it's all in the sell. It's you gotta learn how to be able to understand what your value is, and then play to it. And you and I have had these conversations before. It's the way you feel about who you are and what you represent and what you do. And I think that sometimes I wish that I had an opportunity to go and just help out a team or a school and then there are times where I watch for lack of a better term, I'm just going to say folks that are in politics ruin it for guys that are or gals that are involved in athletics over an ego that isn't worth even.
Where would we see something like that? I just can't imagine what you're talking about.
So
I want to ask you about that because you grew up around Michigan State sports. You're a Spartan, even though you're a Sun Devil first. We get that. But your family, very connected here, and your brother, you won't find a guy more passionate about Michigan State than Kerry. As you look at this, what are you seeing?
I see politics interfering with people's lives.
Yeah.
And it's a full circle thing too, because, I'm nearing the age of getting my Social Security and I hear rumblings of it's not my Social Security money anymore that I've been investing, that the government has been spending for me in lieu of me being able to receive that money back as I get older.
Right.
And
it's your money.
And they call it a benefit now.
They borrowed your money.
Right. And just because they made bad investments, they have caused me to look at things differently and made me act differently than I would normally.
Yeah.
You use the same analogy with Michigan State right now. You have people, board of trustee members, who are making decisions, some about things that they have no idea about.
That's right.
And others who are there just for no other reason than there weren't enough votes or weren't enough people interested in seeing who was voting, and they got 27 of the 90 votes that were cast and given a position, and then, in my opinion, abused the position for some sort of personal gain themselves. And when you are a board of trustees, you're supposed to love. You're there because you love your university. It's a volunteer position. It's a position that you're supposed to be an ambassador for your school.
But if you have someone who never went to that university, works for another university, and is undermining another university, something isn't right there.
For personal gain. I mean, and sometimes I get frustrated with things because I'm still, when I was growing up, I had to fight white, I had to fight black, and I didn't understand my Mexican brothers, so I had to whoop them too because they started talking too fast. I couldn't keep up.
Right.
And when I see people use the card, if you will, I'll just say the card, when it's not even justified.
Yeah.
It irritates me so much because there are so many other incidences where it is justified that it doesn't get the weight and the smoke that it should as a result of these kind of things going on. So it becomes personal because I fought the fight,
right?
Literally. And when I see things, what I perceive to be a miscarriage of opportunity, I'll call it, because justice is not just, and our system's already flawed enough that when you add layers of protection, as we're noticing from a national, international, and worldly standpoint, it's frustrating. And when people believe that they're bigger than they are, that's a problem.
We all have bosses. Most of us who are married have a boss we live with. You're not in that situation, but you certainly know what it's been like to not make every decision, have everything the way you want it 100% of the time.
No.
But when someone thinks that they are bigger than the university, they're not in charge of some oversight. They're determined to put their thumbprint on this and be the boss because they were elected by a lot of people who had no idea who the hell they were for an 8-year term, which is longer than a United States senator. And the only time we ever hear about these people is when they're causing a ruckus. So I think there's something wrong here with this fundamental nature. And now you have a board of trustees that is going to be picking another president
and
another AD when they caused the problem to create the vacancy.
The reason they left was because of their ineptness.
Yeah.
And so how do you solve, a system that's broken with the same broken system? And how is it that only 3 universities in the state of Michigan are elected anyway? I don't know the history. I don't know that, but it's like, why is everybody else?
Yeah. And why are so many other states doing it the other way? Now, in fairness, they do say that in those states they have lots of problems too with bad governors making bad appointments. But I think, I've said this before, and some people think that this is simplistic. I think that the trustees or the regents at Michigan or the governors at Wayne State, if they're going to be elected, they should be elected by the alumni, by the degree holders of the university who at least give a crap. I mean, when I vote for the regents at Michigan, I don't know who they are, and half the people I know would vote for the worst candidates they could come up with. So why should those people be shareholders, stakeholders, as Tom Izzo calls them? They should be people who have a vested interest and at least give a damn.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Jack. I like I said, I don't even understand or know the history of how it came to be.
Yeah.
But it seems so ridiculous. And then what the real issue is the process of solving it.
Yeah.
Is do we even have one?
Right.
I know that they tried, but it didn't seem to hold any water. And it's like, how does it not hold any water? Because you got some people that are happy with some of the things that are going on in Michigan State right now, and they'll do whatever they can to pour gas on that fire.
Yeah.
And
I had someone tell me the other day, Jim, well, your idea is dumb because then the people who didn't go to college or didn't go to that college have no say in it. And I said, that's not my problem. The fact that they didn't go to college or they didn't go to this college, then the people who did, who are directly impacted, whose degree has value based on how many times it's doing great things or is in the headlines, are the ones who should be making those decisions.
For a university. That is saying, we want you to come to school and go to school here.
There you go.
I've spent my money. I spent my time. I got my degree.
Yeah.
I'm appreciative of my degree.
Yeah.
And as a result, I want to make sure that there's someone sitting here to help everybody that comes after me.
Two very quick things here before we let you go. I really appreciate you coming in today. You mentioned the New York Knicks. How will they be remembered? You know, they were a 53-win team. They had 9 fewer wins than the Spurs in the regular season. They lost 3 games to the Pistons by a combined 84 points. Yet, they're the world champions for the first time in 53 years.
And that's how they're going to be remembered, Jack.
Yeah.
Because nobody remembers who finished second.
Yeah.
They might remember you lost a 30-point lead.
Yeah.
But not necessarily that you finished second. They'll remember that you lost a 30-point lead in the finals versus you came in second, and obviously they're both the same.
Right.
However, I think that what the New York Knicks proved to me, in my opinion, was that they were the best team in the NBA this year.
Yeah.
And not only that, they were the best team because there were people on their team who accepted their roles, and one in particular who accepted his role that I did not believe he was capable of doing, and that was Karl Anthony Towns.
He did.
Because he humbled himself.
That's right.
To
was
just
all about
be
the
a
team.
good
That's right.
player
That's right.
for his teammate.
Checked his ego at the door, and he was a key component. OG Anunoby, same thing. You know, these guys performed in the clutch. But I'm looking at 4 figures, Jim, and you know all 4 of these guys. And when you talk about the Canyon of Heroes, what they call that path for the parade in New York City, if you think of Derek Jeter and all the heroics he had in postseason, you think of Joe Namath. Some would say Eli Manning, but you go way back to that and that changed the face of pro football. You think of Mark Messier in hockey. I would ask Rob about this, but I don't want him throwing up in the studio talking too much New York stuff here. And then now Jalen Brunson. These guys who were like, out-of-body experiences. They'll never have to buy street meat in New York.
You definitely have to put him on the Mount Rushmore, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And he is the most humble, caring, charismatic young man that I have seen in a long time. I'm very happy for him, very happy for his family, as well as all the rest of the Knicks. But like anybody, I knew that when they won, it was bound to have a little bit of over celebration, you know.
Yeah.
And,
you think? Yeah.
But it's good for New York. It's good for the NBA.
Yeah.
I think that, I wouldn't say this maybe 5 years ago, but the NBA is in a pretty good spot right now with the teams, the youth, the
young
players
stars,
that are on the,
And it's a global game.
And it definitely is a global game. And so I'm looking forward to, watching the Pistons come back next year, see what pieces they can put in to improve, and I'm interested in seeing those guys whose shortcomings were put under this microscope during the playoffs, and see what they do this summer to get better, to make sure that next year they're not a liability. But so like anything, every year you learn, you get a little better. The question is do you go back to the lab and do your work,
right?
So that when you come back, you look like a chemist next year.
Jim Keaton Jr. Jim, we missed you yesterday, Sunday and yesterday on the Dean Trailways bus to suburban Chicago for the NPH USA Football Legends Classic, benefiting, among others, the Shinsky orphanages across North, Central, and South America. And you were a popular topic of conversation. Jim Jeffcoat, your buddy from Arizona State, and Eddie Sadi, now back at Eastern, talking about how good the Quakers are going to be with this program. Dan Bogan now back there, so that's going to be exciting. I want to thank all of our guests today, starting with Daniela Bruce. And 10 years since she graduated from Michigan State, she's gone on to do great things, and now a key part of the Tigers and the Red Wings telecasts. And she has an interesting style, and she's a very good fit with Jason Benetti and all of the co-hosts, the analysts they have on these Tigers broadcasts. Appreciate Tom Lang being here for the long drive. What a great story about Doug Drenth, the coach at Charlevoix High School, and the horrific crash with a driver who was being chased by the police and smashes into their van, and all the injuries. Now they come back and win the state championship by 17 strokes. Couldn't write that story. Steve Grinzel, my longtime travel companion, covering Michigan State for 4 decades, talking about the mess that is Michigan State administration now, and Big Jim Keaton. We'll be back with you tomorrow, everyone. Have a great night.